It's been a while since I bought this thing, but got a 2021 Prowler Pro. I got about a little over 2,300 miles on it. In that time, I put some lights on it, a windshield, a wiper, doors. I kind of did my own jury-rigged rear window, which in plexiglass it actually cracked, so I'm going to replace that here soon. I put a rear rack on it to put some lights for when I'm plowing at night during the winter time. This thing actually has been pretty impressive. I've towed quite a bit of trailers with it and stuff, and everything looks to be still in good working order. I mean, she fires right up still and works good. I put the cab heater kit in it, which was, the motor fans were a little flimsy, so I kind of had to redo my own get up there. I changed the winch line out to Spectra stuff and did a Haas Fair lead and just kind of changed some things up. The front tires on this are actually wearing really quickly for how much I've driven it, so I think I'm going to get a new set of tires, and I think that there's a kit out now that you can get forward set front control arms for this, so I think I'm going to buy that and the 3-inch lift kit, and then I'm going to do the Speedworks clutch kit as well, because it sounds like the next model year, the 2022, came out with a little higher setup for suspension and better clutching for response time and all that. So that's really the only thing that I noticed. Everything else on this thing seems to work really well. I mean, I put it through some paces. I've driven up some old water bar roads and went 4-bying with it, and she seems to work just fine. I mean, I'm not depressed with this machine at all. I mean, she's pretty quality, still runs good, nice and quiet. I was plowing with it last winter, and I noticed that my voltage was dropping down to extremely low voltage, down to 12.5, and I was wondering what the heck the deal was with it. And then come to find out that after talking to the dealer a little bit and asking him, like, hey, do I need to get a bigger alternator on this thing, or because I'm plowing quite a bit with it. We got quite a bit of snow last year. But what I found was, if you open the bed, there's actually a ground wire right there, and that is the main ground that goes to the engine. And come to find out, it was loose, and so I actually had this whole wiring harness apart, checking and trying to find where I was losing my voltage, because I bumped it and all of a sudden the engine would falter. And so I went, okay, well, I started kind of working through the wiring and checking stuff and trying to figure out what the deal was. And come to find out, that main ground wire back there that you can see right there is looser than all get out. And the dealership said that they had a Textron come in, or a Prowler Pro, that, I mean, the guy would roll the key on and nothing would come on, nothing would work, and they ended up running another ground wire over and got the machine to run and everything. And so I found that it was loose, so I took a little Loctite, put it in there on the bolt, took a 10 mil, tightened it down, and I haven't had an issue since with charging or anything on this. And it just seems to run good, so she fires right up every time. I've been inspecting the clutches, make sure that they're good to go, because I have really hogged on this thing. Yeah, I don't find any issues with it. I mean, she's a little dirty because I've been running around in the mud, but yeah, I'm thoroughly impressed with this. And then I guess the only other thing is I got a stick caught in the far side shaft, because these shafts are kind of outside of the rear control arm, so a stick jumped up and caught the driver's side boot in there, and so I had to pull this all apart and replace the inner CV shaft boot, which wasn't terrible. The hardest part was getting the nut off the spindle in order to get everything undone and get the shaft out, because that was torqued down to, I don't remember what, but it was pretty hefty torque. So other than that, I mean, for 2,300 miles, like I say, I put a lot of time on this machine. Pretty dirty in here, but we'll start her up, and still fires right up. Like I say, I got 2313 on it right now. I think I'm going to go through and clean the clutches and make sure that's happy. Go through and redo my put new front and rear diff fluid in it, and make sure the engine oil is changed because it's time for that again. But yeah, I think a lift kit, clutch, a little bit of that stuff, make this thing a little bit more fun. Probably get a little bit bigger tires on it. I did change the headlight bulbs out to some LEDs because I did notice that the standard halogens were really sucking the juice down, especially when I was plowing. So now I've got some a little bit nicer blue style LED headlights in it. And then I did some front boot covers just to make sure that, you know, any sticks that came up in the front end would get deflected and not rip the front CV boots. But as you can see, she's sitting there running pretty nice. So anyway, there's my update. 2,300 miles and she's still running strong without a single issue.